this panel discussion.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I lost the video.
Yes, we're going to cut it for now.
No problem.
We'll turn you off, turn you on later. Thank you.
That's fine, no problem.
So hello everyone who's joining already. We're going to wait for a couple of minutes until we got more people on board. Welcome to this panel discussion. So hello everyone. As I said, my name is Alberto. Welcome to this panel discussion organized by the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the UK and co-organized by Ibérica Expo. We have titled this as a food and beverage import and distribution in the UK market. And the main purpose of this is to know the perspective of the importer. So the Spanish companies that are interested in the UK as a market, they see what the importer and the distributor in the United Kingdom think and what they're looking for. I go joining today a few people here, but I'm going to start with Davide, who is part of Ibérica Expo. And as I said, we're partnering with them. I will go with Davide. We will go through a short introduction about Ibérica Expo, and then I will explain a bit about the rules of this panel discussion, when I will be joined by 4 different importers and distributors from the United Kingdom. As I said, we are co-organizing this panel discussion with our partner, and I give the floor in this case to Davide. So welcome, Davide, who is going to explain us a bit about what Ibérica Expo is and how they're working in the UK.
Thank you, Alberto, and hello, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar organized by the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the UK and Ibérica Expo. If you want to move to the next slide, Alberto, please.
Yeah, it's already there.
Let me just go back. Yeah, perfect. So let me give you like a bit of an introduction. First of all, Ibérica Expo is the largest Spanish food and bev event in the UK. And this year will be run, well, next February, we'll be running the event, which is going to take place on the 1st and the 2nd of February in London. But before getting into the specifics of the event, I'd like to give you a quick overview about who we are. So as a company, we are a Queries Media. That's the name of the main brand of the umbrella company that we have in the UK. And under this umbrella, we have 2 specific projects. One is called Bella Vita, which is, by the way, also owned and participated by Cebus and in Italy. Maybe some of you know that those are the largest food and bev fairs in Italy. And the other project is a Spanish project that we have, which is Ibérica Expo, of which I'm the CEO. If we can move to the next one.
Yeah. Here you go.
Perfect, thank you. So as Ibérica, we have like a global, what do we do? I mean, what we do is we run a global network of trade shows, of food and bev events. And in this slide, you can see what we currently do. We do an event in partnership with Chamber of Commerce in the UK and also Bella Vita. This is the first on the left. And this is like a, let's say, an Italian and Spanish event only. And it's the only case worldwide where we organize the trade show from scratch. So we are indeed the trade show. In the rest of the countries, like on a worldwide basis, once again, we work in partnership with existing and leading trade shows and exhibitions. So as an example, in Poland, we work with Bold Food. in Thailand with Food and Hotel Thailand, in Canada with Restaurant Canada Show, in Mexico with Abbas Tour, in Holland with Overcava. And also we are planning other events for 2021 in Italy with Chibus and in Germany with Internoga. So the way we work with this, according to this model, is that we have space inside these exhibitions where we run typically an Italian, a Bella Vita, and a Spanish, an Ibérica event, where we, of course, group together Spanish and Italian companies and also, do marketing activities to attract clients for our exhibitors, being those distributors, importers, retailers, HoReCa professionals, etc. As you can see, last quick point on this slide, our focus on a worldwide basis again is very much around the HoReCa channel. So we like to, offer our Spanish exhibitors and Italian exhibitors, of course, the opportunity to connect with the HoReCa channel and food service channel on a worldwide basis. Of course, we also get retailers, but let's state clearly that our focus is more around food service. If you want to move to the next one, Alberto. Here we have like a few numbers about our event in London, which is, the conversation is going to be focused around the UK. So let me give you a few numbers. We have this event coming up in February where we group around, well, last year, 2019, we had around 280 companies exhibiting, 7,000 attendees. The audience, as I told you before, is very much around the HoReCa channel, even though we get the usual retail suspects in attendance, such as the big supermarket chains. And also we run a very important contest called Ibérica Awards, where most of the companies do put forward products for English, British companies, buyers to evaluate. And then we have, of course, prizes, etc. But this is just, of course, to incentivize the interaction between buyers and potential exporters. Next one. Yeah.
Here we go.
So in this slide, we want to give you a very quick look and feel about what the event looks like, so that you can, we will play this short video about maybe one or 2 minutes, and so hopefully you can get a better idea than my words. So Alberto, please go ahead.
La verdad es que ha sido una feria súper productiva. Estos 2 días hemos conocido muchísima gente de restauración, importadores, distribuidores. Creo que puede ayudar muchísimo para aquellas bodegas que ya están representadas a poder ampliar su presencia en el mercado inglés, y aquellas bodegas que están buscando distribución, pues aprovechar este evento para poder hacer nuevos contactos y conocer pues, gente importante del sector.
Me ha parecido una experiencia fantástica, primero porque me ha sorprendido muy gratamente el gran número de empresas españolas que han participado, que ha llegado a un número récord de las ferias en las que he asistido. Me ha parecido una feria con un tamaño muy adecuado, nos ha permitido también contactar con cada uno de los stands, y la verdad la iniciativa me parece una iniciativa sinceramente brillante.
He encontrado un perfil de visitante variado, en el cual tanto restaurantes como sobre todo distribución, que muchas veces es el eslabón que falla para introducirse en el mercado, hemos tenido visitas de ese tipo de empresas interesadas en nuestro producto, así que contento.
I think we can stop it here, Alberto, if you like.
Yeah, it's all right. Thank you very much. So you can get an overall idea of what the show was about. Thank you very much, Davide. We're now back to the presentation.
Yeah, and then if I can add quickly, thank you once again. And if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to either myself or Alberto. We'll be happy to, answer any questions you may have. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Davide, for your introduction. So having said that today, and being this the main purpose of this presentation, we got 4 people joining us. and being the idea of getting a perspective of what the different importers in the United Kingdom, the distributors of Spanish food and wine think. We got, I'm going to introduce them one by one and turn the cameras on as well. Paul Cini from Alliance Wines. We got Mr. Oscar Blázquez from Ibérica Spanish Food. We got Miss Paul Grimhood from Ultra Comida and Mr. Oscar Casaran from Amigo Foods. We're going to be seeing them in a minute, one by one. Yes, now you can see everyone. So we will have in this order, in the order that you can see on this slide, a short presentation by each of them, and then we will kick off with a panel discussion that I will explain a bit about the rules. So we will start with Mr. Paul Cini. If you can, from Alliance Wines, explain a bit about your company, please. We can't hear you, Paul.
We go.
We can hear you now. Yeah.
Now, Alliance Wine is a wine business, importer, distributor in the UK, based in Scotland, just outside Glasgow. We do specialise in working with a load of Spanish growers and producers and distributing their wines throughout the whole sector of the industry within the UK, from dealing directly with the Ibérica trade in London, within the M25 and in Scotland, and working through the rest of the country through a chain of wholesalers.
Thank you very much, Paul. We're now going back to Mr. Oscar Blázquez from Ibérica Spanish Food. Oscar, please.
Hello, everybody. I'm Oscar Blázquez, Managing Director of Ibérica Spanish Food, which is based in the south of England, near Brighton. We have a unique portfolio with more than 300 products, including cured meats, oil, seafood, drinks, and kitchenware. And we pride ourselves to offer excellent service, the finest food, and competitive prices. Apart from online, we also do wholesale. We supply to some of the best independent restaurants in the south of the UK and London. So if you are looking for advice about the Spanish products for your business, please do get in contact with us.
Thank you very much, Oscar. On the third place, we've got Mr. Paul Grimhood from Ultra Comida. Please, Paul.
Yeah, so we're a Welsh company. We started in 2001 right in the west of Wales, Aberystwyth, and we've grown organically. We started with a retail business, and we moved on to a retail and being restaurateurs, and now we own 2 bars, and we cover Pembrokeshire, Ceredigion, and Cardiff. But we also distribute the full shopping basket of Spain. So that's everything through our warehousing, through Wales, UK.
Thank you very much, Paul. And in the fourth place, we got Mr. Oscar Casaran from Amigo Food. Oscar, please.
Hello, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Our company is an English company based in London. We are quite central and northwest and W10. And we are dedicated to the import and food distribution. Yes, Spain is our main supplier. We definitely import from Spain more than any other country. But at the same time, we do import from, I would say, almost every European country, from Cyprus to Poland, Germany, Italy, France, etc. We supply a wide range of restaurants, chains. We supply as well hotels, catering companies. And in those hard times, we have started doing home deliveries. So this is, I believe, part of this conversation. And this is what we do. Yeah, the business has been going for nearly 7 years. Actually, will be 7 years in 7 days. So yeah, that's when everything started.
Happy birthday in that case to your company. Thank you very much for joining us today. Having said this, and now that you know a bit about our panelists, I will explain a bit quickly about what we're going to do. We have prepared 10 different questions that are going to be asked to the different speakers that we got here. And these questions are separated in 4 main blocks of topics. And we're going to start with the first one now in 3, 2, 1. And if you guys are ready, we are starting it. With the first block, we'll talk a bit about the UK market in general terms. So I would like to ask you, with the first question being, we got Brexit, we got COVID-19, we got the pound and the euro, the pound going down and the euro staying kind of stronger. With this whole situation, which aspects of the UK market would you mention in a positive way to encourage food and drink companies to continue doing business in the UK? If, for example, Oscar from Ibérica, would you like to start, please?
Okay, let's start. Well, I think there is definitely some uncertainty around. Things haven't been easy for the last few years with a not clear vision what Brexit really means. And at this point, the most important factor is to clarify what sort of agreement will govern after the 31st of December. And I'm talking about the movement of goods, import tariffs, duties, and the rights for the Europeans living here in the UK. So for any new company trying to sell here to the UK, it's not the best time, but there is still opportunities. It's just that we need a little bit of clarification on how it's going to be, especially on the duties, for example, for chorizo or any other product.
Okay. Any, for example, Mr. Grimhood, is there any aspect what would you mention as a positive? Mr. Blafke has mentioned there are still opportunities. Which opportunities would you mention in the case of the UK?
I mean, I've got to start off by saying I think we are in a dire position with a rolling catastrophe of COVID and then Brexit coming next. But I think the UK market is resilient. I mean, I think sales of and let's face it, Spanish goods are premium in terms of quality, the quality cost ratio, and sales have been buoyant. I mean, I don't know, Paul. Wine sales for us, and I think in the industry, have been surprisingly strong. In fact, stronger than they probably would be normally. I don't know whether that's to do with lockdown and staying at home and the whole online thing, but I think as a country we are resilient, and I think we're dynamic in the way that we approach problems. Oscar, you mentioned about home deliveries. I mean, we're adapting and we will adapt, and I think the UK market is a good market for that reason.
Is that something, Mr. Sinner, you would agree with? And is there any particular aspect you would mention about the UK market?
I think one of the great aspects of any Spanish producer about the UK is fundamentally the UK is a wealthy nation. With regard to wine, we are not really a major producer of wine. So historically, we've imported wines from right around the world, and this gives Spanish growers and producers as much of a chance to sell their wines as producers from other countries. Obviously, if you're selling Spanish wine in Spain, it's very easy. If you're trying to sell Spanish wine in France, it's not so easy. But you have a crack of the whip to sell your wines in the UK. And also, we have a great love for Spain. Look at how many tourists from Britain go and visit Spain when they can. Maybe this is not going to be the best year for Spanish tourism, but I'm going back to Spain on the 5th of August. And I'm sure there are lots of people who would love to be joining me if only they were able to this year. So I think we have an interest in Spain. There are lots of opportunities here. And above all, Spain has been showing itself in its very finest colors, with a concentration on top-end food and increasingly a good reputation for wines.
Thank you very much. In that case, Mr. Casaran, they have mentioned, some of the previous speakers, they have mentioned the UK being a wealthy nation, how much British people like Spain in terms of food and wine, and being a very dynamic economy as well. Is that something you would agree, or something else you would add, for example?
Well, Spain in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, Spanish food specifically has become a big trend into the UK market, especially I would say in London. A few years ago, roughly around 4 years ago, we could see a big burst of gourmet burgers. Companies like Honest Burgers, Byron, they exponentially grew in the center of London. And at the same time, but at a slower pace, a lot of Spanish restaurants and therefore a lot of Spanish food brands started establishing in central London. Right now, a lot of these fast food gourmet fast food restaurants are in decline. But on the other hand, I think there is a lot of Spanish restaurants that has been established and they are consolidated. Obviously, right now, this COVID situation is a hard, difficult situation for everyone. It has made us all forgotten about the Brexit. For a moment, I felt at work like, wow, Brexit is not happening, but yes, it is behind. And we can't wait we can't wait to get over this COVID-19 and start focusing, which we already did our homework, getting ready, because in theory, Brexit is supposed to happen last year. So we kind of have our homeworks done, but we can't forget about this Brexit happening. What I would say for Spanish companies, in order to encourage them to do businesses in UK, yes, I totally agree. UK is a big country with big demand and is got a big economy. And yes, as English people, I would say 90%, 95% of them, once they come back from Spain on holidays, they really crave for all these Spanish streets and Spanish wine. So yeah, there is definitely business here. Hello? Is everything going okay?
Yeah, I think Alberto has lost his connection. Maybe the next can fall while he tries to come back.
No problem.
Who was next to answer the question, please?
I think I was the last one asking this question.
Yeah, indeed. I think we may need to move to the next question. I don't like. I don't know if you can move the slides, Elena, because
yeah, he's trying. Just a second.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, everyone, for the problems.
That's all right.
This is things of the life. Things of being life. There you go.
Here it is.
Sorry about that. Apologies, everyone. This is what happens when you do something from home. So I was cut off when you were mentioning that many people thought Brexit was not happening, and you said it's certainly happening, and that's seen as a problem. There's still a few opportunities in the UK market, right?
Yes. Well, and then I just kind of finished saying that yeah, the UK market is definitely there is opportunity here, and I would encourage Spanish companies to establish business relationships. Obviously, we have to keep an extra eye. I would keep an extra eye if I had a Spanish company trying to export my goods to UK, but not only to UK, to any other market. But due to these exceptional circumstances that we are living, so once you got all this taken into consideration, I don't see any reason why not to do business with UK.
Lovely. Thank you very much. Having said these, now we have touched a few aspects about what the strong points of the UK market are. We're going to the second block, which is like how to get to the final client. How do you guys get to the final client? So I'd like to start with HoReCa versus retail. Do you work with them in equal proportions? Do you work more with HoReCa, with retail? I would like to start with this one. So maybe if we can start with Mr. Cini from Alliance Wines, please.
Well, our strength has traditionally been with the HoReCa trade, but trying to establish balance, we have broadened out, and we certainly do cover the retail sector at the moment. And probably this year we'll see that accounting for maybe 25% of our turnover, with some supermarkets like Aldi or Sainsbury or Waitrose or whatever. But we are still very, very reliant on the HoReCa trade. And clearly this past period, these past few months have been very, very difficult and a struggle for all of us. We're relying on the retailers to keep us busy.
Thank you very much. Would you say is that your case, Mr. Blackett? Is that a similar case than the one described by Mrs. Cini?
A similar case. For us, the volume for food service has been traditionally much higher, but however, during the lockdown, this went the opposite, and deli shops and supermarkets were ordering a lot more than usual. So, it's always a positive side. on everything. And during the lockdown, as I said, delis and shops ordered so much compared to the normal, and online with figures that were like 10 usual.
So you've been able to compensate. So you've been able to compensate that a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, obviously all the restaurants and pubs were closed, but the delis, they had I mean, the thing is, like, for us, many of our products, they can hold like 5 kilo, 20 kilo rice. So that stock has been sitting on the warehouse for a few months, but the rest, all the deli, like 1 kilo sides for rice, olive oil, that was flying off the shelves, mainly going through delis and our online website.
Okay, thank you. You were saying yes with your head, Mr. Greenwood. Is that something you agree? Is that a similar situation you go working in a similar way?
Yeah, I mean, we deal probably 50-50 between retail and hospitality. I mean, I've got to say our biggest customers are our own restaurants and bars. And, you know, we're sitting on huge amounts of the hospitality industry stock, which now we just got to sell. I mean, it's 5 months of a break of selling. Very similar to what Oscar was saying, that these formats have been sitting there doing nothing. Retail has been operation, you know, we've been selling to retail, and now we just got to sell this stock now that we've got. You know, yes, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you very much. So in the case of Mr. Casaran, will you describe a similar situation as well? Do you work with Ibérica, more with retail? Have you changed these proportions during lockdown?
I wish I would have done much more retail than we do. I have to say, when I started the company, my first target was developing the business towards retail. Then I realized I was trying to hunt Moby Dick with just a fishing rod, with a little fishing rod. So it was not going to happen. The company was small, the cash flow was tight. So basically we started developing all towards Ibérica. And yeah, right now I have to say we have been hit very, very hard by all this crisis. And we basically lost 90% plus of businesses from today to tomorrow. It's a massive, massive hit. At the same time, we kind of reinvented ourselves and managed to increase those sales convert this 10% into 30% in the next few weeks after the 16th of March when the problem started. And right now, we have seen a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel when the Prime Minister announced that the 4th of July restaurants would open. So yeah, definitely it's going to be in our target for the near future. Extend, divide our eggs, not having all the eggs in one basket, just dividing the business and spread across retail, it won't be an easy thing to do, but yeah, it's in the to-do list, definitely.
Okay, so in changing this maybe way of doing business and maybe reconsidering your potential clients, I would like to ask you the question 2 and the 3 kind of together. I would like to know if you are promoting your products in a particular way to restaurants and shops, and if you guys are thinking about maybe new ways of promoting these Spanish products in order to boost the demand of Spanish products. So if you maybe with Mr. Casaran, as you mentioned in the last sentence, if you can mention anything about this.
Well, yeah, what we've done to adapt ourselves to this exceptional circumstances, straight away what we did, we had a website designed for our Ibérica customers. So in that website, our customers could log in, could see their products, could see the products they regularly buy from us, and without seeing any kind of price, because we send the prices by catalog, they could just place the orders with us. So what we did in about 10 days with our web developers, we kind of flipped the website and convert the website into a home buyer's website. Obviously, changing a website in 10 days, you cannot do wonderful things only with this brief time. But I have to say that we have reached quite a lot of home buyers. We have been having a certain decent amount of sales reaching these home buyers, which has helped us to increase our business and our sales during these hard times. So yeah, that's mainly what we have focused. But yeah, we will be looking at more retail soon.
Thank you. In the case of Alliance Wines, Mr. Cini, is there any particular way you promote your products towards your clients? And have you thought about any particular way of maybe boosting the demand of Spanish products? I give the example here of wine tastings. Is there any particular way you've been working, or you're thinking about maybe doing something new?
Well, very difficult to do wine tastings at the moment. Having a bunch of people in the same room all spitting together is probably not going to earn you any brownie points at the moment. So I think just generally in terms of promoting Spain, Spanish wines, what we've been doing, or the angle that we like to promote, is to try and look at Spain as land, the country, and concentrate on growers, on what they're doing, on their vineyards, less thinking about producers. Spain has always been the country of the producer, the big bodega, or concentrating on how wines are matured. So we're trying to talk about where they actually come from, the grassroots, the produce. And you know, if I was with one of my fellow commentators today talking about animals, the products that they produce, then it ties in nicely with that. We'd be talking about where pigs roam in the oak forests or whatever, something like that. Is trying to create that a much stronger artisanal image for Spanish wines than we have done perhaps in the past.
All right. This is actually something that has been mentioned before to me by different importers and distributors, that the importance of showing the origin of the product and showing how artisan or how homemade this product is. Is that something in the case of Mr. Grimhood? Is that something that your clients ask you for? So would you agree with this comment as well?
No, totally. I mean, I'm going back to, it links into what I was going to say, was that we've innovated in terms of how we get these great products to our customers. And one of the ways that we've done it is online Zoom meetings with the producers in Spain. So we supply little tasting pots of the wines that we're tasting, and the producer goes through the wines with the customer, and you're not linked to a place. You can get as many people tasting as demand is there, and I think this is probably something that will stay with us after this crisis is over, because you can reach so many more people, and it seems to be a very, not just us, the industry is doing it. It's a cheap, efficient, and enjoyable way of getting these products out to customers. So I think what this has taught us is innovation, home deliveries, end user selling, and getting the tasting to the customer in different ways. And it's been successful. It's been good.
Thank you. Is that something, Mr. Blázquez, that you are already implementing, or you would be maybe considered to implement for the future?
Totally. I think we are working with the suppliers as well to plan a marketing campaign that tells the story about how they produce each of the products, why they started the business, and what are the values. And all this, the aim is to promote it through social media and try to get the message to as much people as we can. Apart from that, how we promote the products, we still use some traditional methods, such as adverts on food find magazines, and apart from that, we send sample packs to our potential clients. That's the way we've been doing.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So we now heading to the block number 3, which is more related to something we have mentioned before, but this is quite a specific, Brexit and COVID-19. We'll start with the first one. As we know now that the transition period will end on the 31st of December 2020, how is Brexit affecting your company, or how it has affecting your company until now? And are you taking any additional measures in order to face Brexit and trying to do business as usual? Maybe we could start with Mr. Cini, if that's all right.
Fine. Brexit again. I think this is a sort of question that we've tried to answer a couple of times before when we were looking at the possibility of crashing out of the EU with no deal. And in those times, we, along with many other wine companies, we increased our stock holding so as to make sure that we didn't face problems of bringing stock into the country after we'd left. I think that's going to be a much greater problem this time round because we've just been through this, or we are still going through this catastrophic period of lockdown where a lot of our customers have been closed and cash flow is much tighter than it has been. So are we going to be able to bring in loads of stock? Do we want to bring in loads of stock? Is there going to be another lockdown in the future? We don't really want, we don't know what the future holds. It's going to be very difficult to load up our stocks again, I think. As to the future, I mean, it also poses huge problems just in terms of labeling. We're moving out of the EU, so every bottle of wine that we import from Europe will have to have a imported by statement on it in future. It will affect our sales structure. We've been selling to customers who've shipped from our stock that we hold in Spain. Are we going to have to label every one of those bottles labeled by, imported by the particular customer, and so on? There are problems that still need to be addressed, and we don't actually know the answer to many of the questions as yet. The government still hasn't given us full instructions.
Okay, Mr. Blatka, you were kind of confirming what Mr. Cini was saying with your head. Are there any particular measures you take in, any particular concerns you have from your company, and also in terms of COVID? It is the second question. Is there any comment you got on that?
Definitely, I totally agree with Paul. The main one of the main issues we have is about the labeling all and every single product that we import. So if that's the case, that's gonna put a lot of pressure either on the suppliers to put a label on each of the product, or here in our units. So that's one of the things that we are considering. And apart from that, how it's affecting Brexit is planning. It's impossible to plan because you never know, how it's going to be the pound in the next few days, depending on what they say in the news. And during the, probably November and December, we will be holding a lot of stock without knowing if it's going to be, as Paul said, another lockdown, and we're going to be sitting here for another 3 months. So there's a lot of unknown questions, and the only way we can plan, or try to reduce the impact is to have the information in advance. But as we know, all the information out there is a bit confusing. And for us internally, what we are doing is adding an additional member of staff to deal just with the Brexit issues. If there is import tariffs, all the documentation that some suppliers, for example, in Spain, are now requesting, which weren't before, which is again more time and cost for us.
Thank you very much. Is that something, Mr. Grimhood, you're thinking about? Maybe hiring a new person who only specializes in dealing with all these papers? Is something you maybe have done already?
No, we haven't done it already. And I think, well, for us, I don't know about you guys, but it's just not on the radar now, Brexit. It's so close, but it's not. Because at the moment, it's survival mode, adapting and getting through this crisis at the moment. About information, I think it's charitable to say that we haven't got most information. I don't think we've got any information. It's all we know is that it's going to be more bureaucratic, so it will cost more in the office, and we're probably in the worst position as an industry to cope with more costs. We don't know even the most basic things. Are we going to keep on with the EMCS? We don't know. So in terms of flippant comments from the government saying get prepared, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know what I'm preparing for. It makes me quite angry actually, because I think we should have the information so we can plan. But unless I'm on a limb, I haven't really got any information in terms of how to prepare, except it will cost more.
What about in terms of COVID? Is there in terms of the impact? It's like for the food and beverage industry, generally speaking. You have mentioned something before, but would you say the impact has been very strong, that it will continue impacting the industry as well?
Oh, absolutely. Hospitality is about volume. It's about sharing. It's about, you know, hospitality. It's about, you know, it's people getting together. You know, without being too negative, I mean, it is a devastating thing for hospitality. Retail can survive. Hospitality is problematic. It really is. And until this is all, a vaccine comes out, and, you know, and we get to normality again. But without a vaccine, there is no normality. So we have to keep adapting as an industry. And really, we should just say, forget Brexit. You know, we should, you know, I know it's not on the agenda, but it's not something that is, that we can cope with, I think, at the moment.
Thank you very much. In the case of Mr. Casaran, what is your perspective about? Do you agree with your colleagues in terms of like how it is affecting your companies, how it is affecting the industry, and the information is not clear? Would you say that you're already taking additional measures because you got maybe a bit of extra information? What would you say?
Well, I think no one's got extra information more than what we can see on the media. But I have to say something that had happened to us. Last year, October, we had a meeting, our finance manager and myself, and we analyzed a little bit how the Brexit was going to affect our business, because first stage business supposed to happen on the 31st of October. And we were in August, and we didn't know. Actually, there was only the Prime Minister guaranteeing and promising to everyone that he will make Brexit happen. So we took one decision. We spent a lot of money in buying or insuring our customers' debts, because we forecast that because products would cost more money to import, so cost prices would be the same, plus adding the transport would make these prices increase. So if we have to increase the prices into our customers, most of them restaurants and hospitality, if we consider that the minimum wage by then just had an increase, and the business rate, especially in central London, is been increasing like non-stop. So we decided to take that insurance. When the government announced that Brexit was delayed from the 31st of October until the 1st of January, I was kind of angry, because I thought, damn, we spent so much money, like a lot of money insuring that bad debt, and now it's been delayed few months. So perhaps, because our insurance goes from August until September, perhaps from January until August, some of these customers will not suffer yet the crisis of the Brexit. But then we got to November, the government announced that the Brexit was postponed from 2020 January to 2021. And I was extremely angry, you know, like, okay, we just wasted a lot of money in covering our customers' debt. And now we just throw the money. What happens is no one can forecast, or no one could predict what had happened. Now we found ourselves with another crisis, which is this COVID crisis. And that makes reference to the second point. So yeah, COVID for us has been, I mean, terrible. And for 90% of our customers, I mean, 90% of them, they have to close down. How comes? We had an insurance. So now the luck was in our side. And in those moments, we had a good bargaining chip, because some of our customers, they were very aggressive trying to negotiate the debt. Like, listen, I'm going to pay you 50% of what I owe you. And we write it down, and we said, how comes? We got an insurance. Thank you to Brexit, we covered to go. So that was just luck. We couldn't forecast that. Yes, we have to get ready for Brexit. I totally agree with both Paul and with Oscar as well. The COVID has been terrible for us. Products sitting on our warehouse, product just being dumped into the bin. In our scenario, I promise you, we try to donate certain amount of food. But when you go to a full van, a couple of pallets of food to some places where they take donations, they don't even want it. I'm going to take 2 tubs of 5 kilos of yogurt, and the other half a pallet, you can take it away yourself. So we really wasted. We wasted, unfortunately. Perhaps we didn't know what to do with this food, but we had to focus more in saving our business, and we did our best. I want to encourage some suppliers. I've been taking notes earlier. I want to encourage some suppliers from Spain to help us labeling the products in English without having to increase the volume or the orders up to a whole truck. Let's say we are dealing currently with several Spanish suppliers and we have purchase power of buying 1, 2, 3, up to 4 pallets of different ingredients, but we cannot afford to buy a whole truck. Basically, we got 6,000 square feet of space, but we cannot just fill it up with trucks. So I would like to encourage them to help us to say, okay, I'm going to label the product you want in English as is requested, is required now. The minimum order is 1 pallet, because we've faced this problem, you know, like a lot of suppliers, you're saying, okay, I'm going to send you the goods and I'm going to send you the labels. So you put the labels yourself. That's not a solution. So that would be very helpful. Then I want as well to encourage suppliers in Spain, obviously, to gain as much information as possible from the potential customers here in UK. And once they know this information, saying information, delivery address, volume of the order, and any other information they might need, I encourage them as well to quote the products on destination. It's very easy for me as a buyer to contact a supplier and say, okay, I'm looking to buy X, Y, and Z. And it's very easy for them to say, okay, X, Y, and Z cost this much here in my warehouse. Okay, we are in 2020. We like to work with proactive suppliers that runs the extra mile, as at least in our case, we like to be good payers. So we like to be good payers. We like to work with proactive suppliers that can say, okay, what is your volume? How much you want? What's your address? This is what you want. This is your price on destination. You don't have to bother for the transport. They obviously have to incur the cost of transport into their, but then makes our life as buyers much easier.
Easier. Well, that's definitely a good point to know, because in the end, it's like showing the potential suppliers the perspective of one of the importers here. Thank you very much for that insight as well, and maybe giving some advice to the different companies that are attending this webinar today. We're now going through the last topic, to the last block, that it is from one side of a particular interest on my side, but on the other hand, is something that talking to importers and distributors, they were interested in sometimes in finding organic products in Spain, and they were having difficulties in finding these products. That's what some importers I've been talking to before, they were telling me. So I was wondering if you could tell us a bit about how important would you say that the kind of organic ecologic products are within your portfolio? If there's an increasing amount of this kind of products, if it's stable, if you have seen a higher demand from the side of your planning, and also if you are planning, on the second point, if you're planning to increase the amount of this kind of ecologic organic products. Mr. Grimhood, could you tell us a bit about that, please?
Yeah, I think organic for us has always been important. And I think, I mean, going back to Spain as a country, I mean, it's Andalusia barely has ever touched chemicals. Everything has pretty much been organic, but it's a certification of organic. I think a lot of products now are coming through. So I'm noticing now anyway with wines and especially wines that they've always been organic, but now they're coming up with a label that's certified organic. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not organic or non-organic. It's a value added to the product. So the price point seems to be not massive. It's quite close to a non-organic product because of the way that Spain produces goods. So for me, it's just a value added. This carver is amazing, but it also happens to be organic. And I think our customers, very astute. I mean, they understand a lot more about the wine production and the fact that Spain, as opposed to some of the big New World countries, is artisanal. It's still an artisan product. So absolutely, and you know, yes, we're going to grow the organic part of it, but not the price. I think it's important that suppliers are realistic about price, not just because we're going through COVID or Brexit. I mean, organic shouldn't be a massive premium. It should just be a value added as opposed to one that isn't organic.
Thank you. Is that something, Mr. Blacker, that you would see from your clients? Or would you share the same perspective from Mr. Greenwood, or maybe clients asking you for a specific product with this kind of characteristics?
I share a similar view than Paul. For us, most of our products they try to import them as natural as possible, additive-free as well if it's possible, but they are not usually certified. So only probably around 10% of our portfolio will be certified organic. And yes, I see there is a demand, an increasing demand for organic products, but in some occasion, I also notice that people are not happy to pay the premium for organic. So if the price is similar, then I'm 100% sure they will go for the organic options. But with some particular products or some suppliers, as soon as they get the certified organic stamp on the product, the price jumps, and then it makes it so difficult to sell it here in the UK, because apart from the cost of the goods, you need to pay, you know, the cost for the transport, storage, distribution, which then, you know, it doesn't work for everyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Oscar. Is that in the case of wine, Mrs. Cini, is that organic wine from Spain, but generally speaking, organic wine something very demanded? What was your impression about that?
As a business, we are fundamentally interested in organic products. So most of the Spanish growers that I work with are farming sustainably, organically, whether certified or not. A lot of my growers are not bothered with the bureaucracy of getting a certificate. Mm-hmm. And it is absolutely that. It's not that they are trying to keep their options open. But for us, and when I'm looking for new producers, it's one of the principal criteria that I'll be looking for, is whether they're farming sustainably and organically. So to me, there's not a huge option. It's absolutely critical. It's vital. We're obviously conscious of the market. I think if we look back to 2008, 2009, we saw that the organic sector took a big drop certainly in the supermarkets. The organic market dropped substantially. That was in response to a crisis about money. This time, a crisis about health, perhaps. And I think that generally that the consumer is more concerned about wholesome products and origin of products. And we need people like Greta Thunberg to remind us that we have to look after the planet. So I think this time round, there's a greater awareness of sort of lifestyle and being responsible to maintenance, the sustainable issues around keeping our planet healthy and surviving. So for me, organic and ecological products are crucial, and we will be doing as much as we possibly can to promote those.
That's the main, and I was planning to ask you all this question at the last part, but that's the main, and this is something I've seen that many businesses in the UK are particularly concerned. Does it mean reducing the amount of plastic that you guys use in your business in terms of packaging? Is it something? Could it be related to that as well?
We don't use a lot of plastic. Wine mostly comes in glass. Stoppers are corks or aluminium. There's plastic shrink wrapping, but that's about as much plastic as we use.
What about the other, in the case of Mr. Casaran, what about your case? Only about plastic, but also about organic ecological products. Is that anything related to that? You have seen any particular trend about it?
Okay, obviously we and myself personally, we are very concerned about sustainability of the world where we live, especially living in a city like London, which is 7-8 million people living here. So if we would all live in a sustainable way, it would be always better. For our business at the moment, we have very few organic products on our list. We do have some biodynamic ingredients, and we have found some biodynamic demand more than organic demand. I didn't know, but it's very interesting that Paul Shiny said that there was a decrease on the organic consumption recently. I was not aware of that, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense to me from the point that the consumers here, the market in London is very, very fierce and is very price sensitive. There is a number of companies who are organic distributors. And these are the companies who have the organic market. For a company like us, having 10, 30 products, 40 products organic, 30, 40 organic products in our portfolio, okay, yes, we have it because our supplier, who we are buying another 20 ingredients, they have these organic lines and we have them in stock to try to sell. But we don't really focus on those organic buyers at the moment. I'm going to say something as well that is curious about sustainability. I've just been discussing with one of our suppliers if they could convert the vacuum plastic, some ingredients that we buy, they come vacuum packed, and this vacuum packed plastic is just a normal vacuum pack bag. But I found, like during this COVID-19 period and searching on the internet, I found a totally biodegradable vacuum pack bags. I called to our supplier and I said, okay, why not from now on, all our vacuum pack products, they don't come in these biodegradable vacuum pack bags, which in 26 months, they totally decompose. So if they fall in the sea in 24 months, this bag is just dissolved. And I thought it was amazing. Well, you give me an example. For the price of 180 pounds of bags, of normal bags, the same amount of bags, so these 180 pounds became 2,300 pounds. So buying normal plastic cost him 180, buying the same amount of plastic bags in biodegradable format cost him 2,300. This is more than 10 times. This is wrong. It should be the other way around. Biodegradable plastic costing 180 pounds and the normal plastic costing 2,300. Obviously, saying this is a dream for all of us. I don't want to divert the subject into the organic product, but yes, sustainability, we are concerned. At the moment, when I find things like this, I don't see how, because it's more than 10 times the price. And yeah, we are a company that we stock few organic lines and more biodynamic, a few biodynamic, but we are not developing more on that as well, because our customers don't have so much demand.
Thank you very much, Oscar. So in the case of Mr. Grimhood and Mr. Blafkett, in terms of the plastic thing, is that something you're kind of working on? Is something your clients are kind of demanding about the products you sell? Or is something they're not particularly worried about? What will you think about that, just to conclude?
It's definitely an undercurrent, but I don't think it's a driving force at the moment. I mean, I think it will be. At the moment, it's a value added, but I don't think it sways customers at the moment. So I think the priority at the moment is really getting through COVID, Brexit, and I think then packaging will become a much more important thing to focus on.
Is that something you would agree, Mr. Blafkett?
I agree with him. Yeah. For us, we got some of our clients. They went they got a policy to become carbon neutral by 2022. Others, they just don't want to do it with any product that comes in plastic as well in 5-10 years. So it's something that we are looking at. As Oscar said, it's quite difficult and complex at the moment because of the cost. But we've been, as a company, we've been working always with the suppliers, trying to reduce the amount of packaging and the way we parcel. For example, we pack our parcels for home delivery. We try to reduce as much as we can the packaging, like bubble wrap or boxes, in order to save the planet as well. Because at the end of the day, we share one place, and we have to reduce our footprint as much as we can.
Okay, thank you very much in that case. Having said this, I mean, I would like to conclude, but no, without saying, first of all, thank you to all the people who attended, but a special thank you to our panelists, Mr. Oscar Blafkett, Mr. Paul Siney, Mr. Oscar Casaran, and Mr. Paul Grimhood, but also to our co-organizer here, David Ortiz, representing Ibérica Expo. Before saying that, there's actually a question, but I will offer here my contact details, as I have written them in here, because it's more about getting in touch with Ibérica Expo. So if you write me an email, I can send you the contact details, if that's okay, David, in your case.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you very much for having everyone here. I don't know if, David, you would like to mention anything before concluding the session.
No, I just want to say thank you to you all panelists, the two Oscars, the two Pauls, and to you, Alberto and Elena, for organizing this, and look forward to hopefully seeing you next February at the event. And thank you once again.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye.